Let me welcome those of you who are streaming live this morning. A big God bless you. Be extended to you all this morning. Okay, this morning we are talking about principles on how to interface with a harsh context. Principles on how to interface or how to relate with a harsh context. How to exist or survive within that context. Right, that is basically what we're going to be looking at this morning. And of course, for the next 2 Sundays, let me plug that in. For the next few Sundays, this will be our emphasis. Of course, the genesis of this teaching has its origin in Matthew, in the book of Matthew chapter 14, where it is highlighted, where it highlights the issue related to Jesus at the point in time when he had negotiated his way into the desert and the multitudes had followed him, right? He had went into a desert place and, he had decided to perform some miraculous stuff within that context. Now, this is where the genesis of this teaching originates, right? So this morning we're going to Daniel chapter 6. We're going to Daniel chapter 6. So we're looking at principles on how to interface with a harsh context. And let me prophesy again and boldly declare that your context is about to change. Amen. Right? And I want you all to have the faith to believe that the context that you are in at present, it's about to change. It's going to favor you. It's going to swing around, to give you peace of mind and rest and comfort and bring joy into your heart. The context in which you exist at this point in time, right? It is going to change. Now, let me begin first of all by reminding you again of the strong possibility that a believer can find themselves in a desert place at some interval during the tenure of their spiritual journey, right? That's a very profound and very important statement for you to be reminded of, that there is a very strong possibility or there is a strong likelihood that a believer can find themselves in a desert place at some interval during the tenure or during the period of their spiritual journey. Understand that your desert place can be financially related, it can be marriage related, it can be family related, it can be job related, business related, career related, it can even be related to a ministry or a church, right? That is something very profound that you should know, that even a ministry can go through a desert experience, right, at some different interval as it journeys. All right? Keep in mind also that the desert experience can also be health-related, and likewise it can be related to a home context. Now, in relation to the feeding of the 5,000 plus people in the desert, that serves as a proven fact, right, that there's a strong possibility that a believer can find themselves in a desert place. And remember that we have established a link, we have established a connection with the experience that is related to the 5,000 plus people that were fed in the desert, right? So understand that the feeding of the 5,000 plus people in the desert proves for a fact that the desert experience is a context that is inescapable and unavoidable. Right? They prove for a fact to us that experience related to the 5,000 plus people that were fed in the wilderness or in the desert, that serves as a proven fact that the desert experience is something that is inescapable and absolutely unavoidable. So keep in mind that, the desert experience is a context which is harsh, it is barren, it is unproductive, it is tight. More than that, it is a context that lies in waste. And it is basically considered desolate. Keep in mind also, it's the Greek word eremu. It's the Greek word eremu. So again, just to remind you in relation to the description of the desert place, understand that it is harsh, it is barren, unproductive, it is tight, it lies in waste, and more than that, it is desolate. It's the Greek word eremu, right? And so it was this context that sent shivers up the spine of the disciples and made them become antsy and fearful concerning the well-being of the multitudes who was within that context, right? And I want you all to be reminded concerning that issue, that it was the desert place, or that place which is described, which is referred to as Eremu in the Greek. It was that context that sent shivers up the spine of the disciples and made them become antsy and fearful concerning the well-being of the multitudes who was within that context. And so as a result of them becoming antsy and fearful, it led to them making a silly recommendation to Jesus that he should send the multitudes away so that they should be able to go to the villages and buy victuals or food for themselves. Now that proves for a fact that the disciples lacked the enablement, or they lacked the ability to interface with the harsh context they were in. Right? All because there was a provision, there was a resource that God had in place as it relates to a little boy having 5 loaves and 2 fish within that context. Right? And so again, Jesus made the first move and indicated to the disciples that they should give the multitude something to eat. Right? But they turned down the offer. They did not accept Jesus' offer to venture out and change that context that they were in, which was harsh, which in actuality had a resource that was able to feed the 5,000 plus people that had followed Jesus into the wilderness. Right? So this proves for a fact that the disciples lacked the ability to interface, with the context, the harsh context that they were in, despite the fact that God had made a resource available in the form of 2 fish and 5 loaves and 2 fish, which had the ability to take care of the needs of the multitudes. All right? So again, this morning we're going to Daniel chapter 6. That is basically enough rehashing right there and bringing you into a state of enlightenment as it concerns the description of the context back in Matthew chapter 14. Now, let's go to Daniel chapter 6. Daniel chapter 6. Daniel, the 6th chapter. Everybody's there? Daniel, the 6th chapter. Now, here's what we're going to look at this morning, and that is we're going to go on a little excursion to discover how Daniel interfaced with the harsh context that he faced. And we're also going to discover what the nature or what the character of his context was like. And we're going to see how he was able to, triumph in the midst of this context despite its harshness, and how, based on his behavior and the methods that he employed, it literally resulted in that context swinging around to favor him. Now let's go to Daniel 6 and let's read from verses 16 down to 23. From 16 down to 23. Everybody together read. It says, let's now, 2, 3, everybody together read. It says, the king sealed it with his own signet ring and with the signets of the lords, that the purpose concerning Daniel might not be changed. Verse 18. Verse 20, and when he came to the den, he cried out with a lamenting voice to Daniel. The king spoke, saying to Daniel, Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to deliver you from the lions? Then Daniel said to the king, O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and shut the lions' mouths, so that they did not hurt me, because I was found innocent before him. And also, O king, I have done no wrong. 23 says that now the king was exceedingly glad for him and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no injury whatever was found on him, because he believed in his God. Now, these are some very amazing writings here. in reference to what transpired with Daniel as it concerns his existence, right? Or the time that he spent in a harsh, devouring context, right? Understand that the context that Daniel happened to find himself in was one that was harsh and devouring, because you'll recognize that he was placed in a den of lions, right? Let me say this very emphatically. He was not placed in a lion's den. Daniel was not up against one lion. He was up against several lions. So it's very important that your phraseology, my phraseology, be accurate and it be correct, because I do not want you to read this scenario and think that it was a case where Daniel was catapulted into a den with one lion only. No, there were several lions, right? As far as that context goes in relation to the amount of lions that were inside of it, please understand that there was a multitude of lions that Daniel was up against. So he was not just in a harsh context, but he was in a context that had the capacity to devour him, a context that had the capacity to overpower him, a context with a number of animals that had the ability to rip him to shreds, right? To mince him, to pulverize him. I mean, if God did not intervene into that context that Daniel was in, all the king would have seen at the end of the night was just a man who was ripped to shreds, right? A man who was pulled apart, because we all know how devouring a lion could be. That when a lion finishes with a human, I'm telling you, it's very difficult for you to even, recognize the individual, because we are talking about the number one animal that exists in the jungle. The animal that is the most feared. The animal where when it roars, it sends shivers up the spine of other animals. But observe, Daniel spent the night within this context and make all them lions look as though they were a flock of kittens. Now that is how bad God is. And hear me, that is the kind of faith we want to have in reference to God turning around our harsh context, where we are coming out of it similar to Daniel, because observe what it says. It says, no injury whatever. No injury whatever. Look at the neighbor and say, no injury whatever. Tell your neighbor, I want that, I want that. Just in case that person didn't get excited when you said that to them, try and find the right person and say to them, no injury whatever. No injury whatever. Tell them, I want that, I want that, I want that. I want that. No injury whatever. I want that. No bruises, no scars, no scratches. Hear me, everybody. Everything intact. That is what I want at the end of my tenure as it relates to me coming out of a harsh context. No injury, whatever. That is tantamount to what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego experienced while they were in the fiery furnace. Observe, they came out with their hair not singed, and neither was the smell of smoke on them. Tell 3 people, I want that this morning. I want that. Come on, if you really mean it, tell them aloud. Tell them aloud. Tell them aloud. I must come out of sickness looking as though I was never sick. I must come out of poverty looking as though I was never broke. I want that this morning, the ability to come out of a situation looking as though that situation did not impact my life negatively in no way. Shout it one more time, I want that. Call out to somebody across the room and make the message clear to them that I want that. Woo! Isn't that good this morning, everybody? No injury, no harm. There must be no evidence that I was in the midst of a catastrophic or in the midst of a bad circumstance. And I'm saying that if God did such for Daniel and if God did such for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, then hear what? I have a faith to believe that God is going to do the same for me this morning. I must come out of that situation looking good or far better than I went in this morning. That is what we believe in God for. Are you with me this morning, everybody? Tell 3 people this morning, you could survive your harsh context. You could survive it. Don't worry yourself. I know it's pressure, but you could survive it. I know it's hard, but you could survive it. I know it's hurting you, but you could survive it. I know it's causing you pain and misery, but at the end of the day, you could survive the harsh context that you are in. You're serving the same God as Daniel. You're serving the same God as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I'm emphatically declaring to you this morning in this room, and by extension, those of you who are streaming, that you can survive the harsh context that you are in. And so when God is ready to bring you out, I'm declaring that he's going to bring you out in fine style. That's the God that we serve this morning. He does things with excellence. And so we continue to trust in him. Now, in reference to what we just read, there's a context higher up that is very significant that we did not read. There's a context higher up that is just absolutely significant that must be paid attention to. Because at this point in time, in reference to the context that Daniel is about to be catapulted into, the harsh context that is, understand that it is associated with some powerful, fascinating, absolutely breathtaking stuff happening with Daniel higher up in a few verses, right? Resulting in the administrative staff of Darius becoming jealous, bitter, and envious of him. To the extent where, resulting in the administrative staff of Darius becoming jealous, bitter, and envious of him. Now, they actually took umbrage or offense of the fact that Daniel had found favor with their boss, the king, to the extent where the king likes him. The king likes him. Now, keep in mind that this is a heathen king. This is an unsaved king. This is a king that does not have any, fear for God. He does not serve God. He has not turned over his life to God. This is a king who is governing a province from the standpoint of him being unsaved. But observe that Daniel has found favor with this king to the extent where the king likes him. And so as a result of the king liking Daniel, it led to him being promoted within the context of that province. Now, here's the thing I want you to write down in reference to what I just said, and that is this. And that is this. And I'm encouraging all of you this morning who are seeking a promotion to do this. All of you who are seeking an elevation in your life, it's very important that you subscribe to this principle this morning, and that is make yourself likable if you want a promotion. Make yourself likable if you want a promotion. It's a very simple yet profound principle that every individual should adhere to if it's a case where they are seeking a promotion. If you are into business and you want to obtain a strong clientele, then here is my recommendation to you. And that is make yourself likable if you want to have a strong clientele. If you want to have people gravitate towards you, thereby resulting in them becoming your customers, then I'm saying to you, make yourself likable. Could you look at the neighbor and say, neighbor, if you are interested in obtaining a promotion in life, then please make yourself likable. Now, the reason why Daniel found favor with this heathen king, keep in mind that they're going in a different direction, right? They're going in an oppositional direction as far as morality goes, right? Keep in mind that this is an unsaved king. This king that is called Darius, he does not know God. And more than that, he does not serve him. But here it is, a born-again individual or a Christian guy has found favor with this king to the extent where the king circumvents or he avoids his boys when it comes to promotion. Observe the man who has been transported as a deportee into his province or into his jurisdiction is the one who is on the end of a promotion, not the satraps, not the administrators, not the governors, not the guys who constitute his administrative staff. No, observe, it's the boy who is a foreigner. It's the boy who is an immigrant. That is the one who is able to obtain a promotion. And Daniel does so on the basis of the king falling in love with him. So my principle to you this morning, if you're interested in earning a promotion, is make yourself likable. Do what everybody, make yourself. Touch 5 people and tell them, make yourself likable, please. Make yourself likable. I think this morning that I have just revealed to some of you the reason why you are yet to earn a promotion. The reason why your superiors and your boss continue to bypass you, and to sidestep you. I think this morning I've revealed to some of you why you're struggling to earn a promotion. Yeah, you're going to work on time, but you're not likable. Yeah, you might be going the extra mile, but you are not likable. Yeah, you might be even working through your lunch hour, but at the end of the day, you are not likable. Understand that being likable can earn you a promotion. Right? It worked for Daniel, it could work for you too. It was the thing that earned him a promotion. Observe, Darius is so in love with Daniel that at the end of the day, he decides to promote him. So again, make yourself likable if you want to earn a promotion. By likable, I mean pleasant. Everybody say pleasant. Congenial. Say congenial. Make yourself easygoing. Make yourself nice. By and large, here's the thing that you've got to do, and that is you've got to build your character successfully. That is it right there. You've got to understand that being likable is associated with the state that your character is in. If your character is untenable, if your character is flawed, you would never be liked by others. People like you on the basis of the outstandingness of your character. If your character is in a mess, nobody's going to like you. So the key thing that Daniel has been able to do is to build his character. He has seen the need to build his character in an outstanding fashion. And as a result of that, the eyes of the king falls upon him. I mean, the king is left with no choice but to like him. The king is left with no choice but to fall in love with Daniel on the basis of what exudes from on the inside of him. This brother has taken the time to build his character properly. And that is something that must not be ignored by you as a believer. Tell your neighbor, take the time out to build your character properly. Tell them that, build it properly. Everybody say with me, I've got to build my character properly. So in relation to character, write this down. Character either demotes or promotes. Character either demotes or it promotes. It can take you down or it could take you up. Very important. And we got some people in Christendom who are failing to build their character properly. If you're not doing so, then you are not subscribing to the ways of God. You're not subscribing to the principles of God, because God wants every believer to be in possession of an outstanding character. So in reference to character, it either demotes or it promotes. If it's outstanding, it promotes. Write that down. If it's outstanding, it promotes. And the flip side to the coin in relation to this principle is, if it's bad, it demotes. If it's bad, it demotes. And I don't think people set out in life to, willingly, I don't think people step out in life to really and truly have a downward trajectory. I think people, venture out in life to have an upward trajectory. And I'm saying to you, if you want to have an upward trajectory in life, then you must take the time out to build your character properly. If you fail to do so, it's going to backfire on you. I guarantee you it's going to demote you. It will never have the capacity to promote you. People who are promoted in life, people who find favor with others in life, people who find favor with God in life, do so on the basis of having an outstanding character. And I want a body of people in Reformation Life Center who are in possession of having an outstanding character. Touch 3 people and say the words to them. Outstanding character, outstanding character, outstanding character. Get your character fixed. Get your character repaired. If it's a case where it is flawed, it is bad, it's untenable, I'm saying to you, see to it that you employ all the measures that you need that will result in you being in possession of having an outstanding character. Now, that was just by the way. You don't have to lay anything at my feet for that. Shout character at me one more time, everybody. As a very, very serious issue. And observe, you had to no safe boss to get no promotion. You had a no born again boss to get no promotion. As a matter of fact, you could enter into the institution with the boss not liking you, but over time, on the basis of you, demonstrating outstanding character. You see, it's not about you, but it's about the God who is operating behind the scenes, everybody. And so God could take that boss that has been hostile to you, that has been unpleasant to you, that has been unkind to you, and switch his heart to the point where, at the end of the day, he promotes you, and he doesn't even know why. Character is important. And I'm saying that to say that we got a whole breed of people in Christianity, some people that is, that does not see the need to pay attention to the building of their character. And that is why life for you is tough and not moving, and it's stoic and staid and not having the capacity to advance, or, you're not able to get to the next level. Why? Because you are ignoring pertinent, relevant issues related to you taking the time out to build your character properly. And we all say amen. Amen. So based on Daniel finding favor with the king, it brings him a promotion. And as a result of that, he's under a volley of hatred, persecution, and sinister plotting from the king's administrative staff. And hear this. And they tried all how to pin him with an indictment of wrongdoing in order to take him before the king. But hear what? They were unsuccessful in their mission to do so. Here's why. Because like Jesus, Daniel can speak in a similar frequency and declare that the prince of this world is coming and he has nothing on me. Just imagine Daniel could speak in that frequency. That regardless of them guys fabricating lies and engaging in sinister plotting, they don't have a case on me. They don't have a hole on me. It's a sheer case where if at the end of the day they pin me with something, then no beyond the shadow of a doubt that thing is coming from the pits of hell. They could never, tie me down. They could never, hold me down to some accusation in relation to me, engaging in wrongdoing. Here's why. Because I'm on the same level with Jesus. That gives me the authorization to declare that the prince of this world is coming. But hear what? He has nothing. He has nothing. He has nothing in me. And hear me, you must be able to speak so in relation to heathens who are plotting against you. Heathens who are coming to relate some kind of false accusation against you. Your words must be similar to that of Jesus. You must be able to speak in that frequency equivalent to Jesus, where you can audaciously declare that the prince of this world is coming. But hear what? He has nothing. He has nothing. He has nothing in me. And so as a result of that, if it's a case where he has something in me, know that it is something that emanates from the pits of hell. It's a lie. Are you hearing me this morning, everybody? Come on, talk to me in this room. Talk to me in this room. Tell your neighbor, your heathens must find nothing in you. They must find nothing. 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 Those who are plotting against you, they must find nothing. Your haters, your persecutors, your harassers, your torturers, hear me, those who are antagonists towards you, they must find nothing. They must find nothing. Nothing in you. Don't put ammunition in their hand. Are you hearing me this morning, everybody? What did I say? Don't put ammunition in. Don't do it. Anything in the negative they have to say about you, it must emanate from the pits of hell. And it's, as long as it's a liar, then it will never be able to stand up. And you better believe that, because God Almighty is going to come to your defense. At that point in time, he will become your lawyer in order to liberate you from that lie. Are we getting this morning, everybody? Oh, talk to me. Are we in the house? Are we in the house? The prince of this world is coming, but hear what? He has nothing on me. And so the boys of, Darius, his administrative staff are trying to pin Daniel with all kind of things. You know, let's try to do this. Let's try to do that. Let's say this about him. And so their witch hunt, you know, went on their witch hunt turned out to be unsuccessful. I mean, at the end of the day, they came up with absolutely nothing that they could pin Daniel, that they could pin on Daniel. Now, here's what they decided next, and that is, let's attack his prayer life. Let's go after his prayer life. And so they went to the king, and they said to the king, for the next 30 days, hear what, king? We want you to issue a petition where nobody in the province would have authorization to pray to their God. And more so, if they're praying, they must pray to you. All you hearing madness, everybody? Yeah. You expect Daniel to fall for that? You're trying to get me to switch. I mean, how silly, how asinine these individuals could be. Your strategy is to get me to switch from praying to my God to praying to this king. It's never going to happen, everybody. I mean, it shows you that it showed you that they run out of plans. That God literally caused their minds to think foolishness. They wanted a law to be, issued by the king, where it's either nobody prays, or if they decide to pray, they must pray to you. And that is the angle that they decided to attack Daniel from. But concerning Daniel, his position is you could pass a 30-day law. At the end of the day, I have no interest in that because it's very difficult for me to even miss praying for one day. That is Daniel. It's hard for me to miss praying just for one day. And so if your intention is to shut down my prayer life for 30 days, hear what? You're tripping. You are absolutely paranoid. You are downright crazy. Because hear what? My prayer life is too important and valuable to me for me to shut it down. And so the Bible goes on to say that Daniel decided to go home. Everybody say, I'm going home, I'm going home. Come on, tell 3 people I'm going home, I'm going home, I'm going home. I'm going home. Tell 5 more, I'm going home, I'm going home, I'm going home. Where you going this morning, everybody? I'm going home. Not to accommodate in my mind, some kind of thought that will, cause me to, entertain the possibility of shutting down my prayer life. No, that is not going to happen. If it's that you want, I'm going home in order to do one thing. And that is this. Look at what the next verse, look at what the verse says. Look at what verse number, where is it? Where you open these windows towards Jerusalem. Where is that? 10. Look at verse 10. Everybody read verse 10. Go ahead. It says what? Now when? Everybody together, verse 10, go ahead. Uh-huh. Yeah, what did he go home and do, everybody? What did he go home and do? Everybody, what did he go home and do? Tell your neighbor again, I'm going home, I'm going home, I'm going home. I'm going home. You all will get revelation into what that means in a bit. But observe Daniel's response. Because the administrative staff of Darius is trying, hard. They're working assiduously in order to pin down Daniel with some kind of indictment that will result in him being demoted. They do not like the idea of him being promoted. And so they fabricated an idea where they went before the king and said, "Oh, king, we want you to petition a new law." Right? Where you issue a decree that anyone who prays over the next 30 days must either pray to you or they do not pray. And so they even went further to say to the king that if anyone does so, then we are desirous of you placing them in a harsh context. In a context that has the capacity to devour them. And so the king in his mind came up with a lion's den. Now you've got to understand that Daniel, in relation to the harsh context that he's going to be placed in, is one of a lion's den. Everybody say a lion's den. Ask your neighbor, will you be willing to go there? Will you be willing to go there? Will you ask somebody else, will you be willing to go there? Will you be willing to go there? all of a sudden, your position is, you see me, I shifting from praying to God to Darius. Or let me take the other choice, which is taking a 30-day fast in relation to praying. But to face a lion's, that is a ball game of a different kind. And it shows you, if you are a believer with no internal fortitude, you ain't ready for this journey yet. If you're a believer who ain't willing to be martyred, you ain't ready for this journey yet. It shows you that if you're a believer and you got a choice to make in relation to you being catapulted into a harsh, devouring context, and your position is you ready to compromise, then that proves for a fact that you ain't ready yet. Observe the harsh context that Daniel is about to be thrown in is one of a lion's den. So write that statement down, that Daniel's context is a den of lions. Let's make it clear in relation to the context that he's about to be catapulted into. A lion's den. That is a harsh, sadistic, ruthless context to be thrown in. And more than that, that context has the capacity and the ability to devour him. There is no way in the natural that Daniel is going to survive that context. But because of God. I said, but because of God. I'm certain that there are people in this room, in your mind, you told yourself that there is no way you're going to survive the harsh context that you are in. But God. I didn't lose my mind because of God. I didn't go crazy because of God. I didn't die because of God. Are there people in this room whose statement of rebuttal is just simply but God, but God, but God. I know how they ain't send me home yet, but God. I know how I ain't get fired yet, but God. Touch 3 people. Just tell them, but God, but God, but God, but God. But God, but God, but God, I would have never been able to survive this, but God, I would have never been able to come out of this, but God, I know how in heaven's name I made it, but God, the doctors told me that I should be dead by now, but God, they told me I should be a vegetable by now, but touch 10 people and tell them, but God, but God, but God, but God. But God, but God. Come on, talk to me this morning, church. But God, but God. I know how food continues to be on my table, but God. I know how I get through each living day, but God, I know how I'm able to pay my bills when the month comes, but everybody shout his name. God. Didn't he say, everybody, that nothing is too hard for me to do? Didn't he say, everybody, that 1,000 cattle upon a hill belongs to me? Didn't Paul say that my God shall supply all of his needs according to his riches and glory by Christ Jesus? Didn't David say that the Lord is my light and my salvation? Whom shall I fear? He's the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. Excellent in all of his doings. Marvelous in all of his works.
And so that is why Daniel said to the administrative staff of Darius, forget that. Forget that. It wouldn't work. Shut down my prayer life for 30 days. The devil is a liar. Don't you know that that is my power base? That is the base of all power. That is the headquarters of all power. The day I shut that down, I'm in trouble. The day I shut that down, I'm going to lose my mind. The day I shut that down, then I reduce all possibility of God working in a miraculous capacity on my behalf. Forget that. Pray to Darius. Who is Darius? He's not deserving of my devotion. He's not deserving of my prayer. Don't try to confine me or narrow me down to idolatry. The devil is a liar. I'm going home and fix that. I said I'm going home and fix that. I said I'm going home and fix that. Lions then are going and fix that. God must morph those lions into kittens during the course of the night while I'm inside of there. I'm going and fix that. Every law, every decree, every petition, all you're seeking to pass them, hear what? I'm going home and fix that. And my God, I'm telling you, I'm going to fix that so good that when God intervenes, that those of you who planned it are going to be destroyed by it. And I'm going to fix it so proper that hear what? When I come out, there shall be no evidence related to injury on me. Tell 3 people are going home and fix that. You're plotting against me to fire me? I go deal with your home. You're tackling my wife behind my back, I go deal with your home. You're tackling my husband behind my back, I go deal with your home. You're trying to get my children to deviate from the things of God, I go deal with your home. Tell 5 people, I'm going home, 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 I'm going home. You're trying to afflict my body with disease and sickness, I'm going to deal with your home. You're trying to mess with my peace of mind on the job, I'm going to deal with your home. You took my name on a piece of paper down to Maruga by the bush doctor. Hear what? I'm going to deal with you. Tell 5 people, I'm going home, I'm going home. I'm going home. Move, I'm going home. Give me room, I'm going home. 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 It's what you want, it's what you're going to get. I'm going home and put on the whole armor of God so that I will be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. And just in case there's somebody sitting down next to you and want to go home, tell them go home, go home, go home, go home. 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 Because home is where my closet is. That Matthew 6 tells me to go into. Home is where my closet is. In relation to when I enter that dimension, I've got to shut the door. Observe, home for Daniel is an upper room. An upper room, everybody. This is something that requires that I fight from an elevated position. I ain't going home to have a pity party. I ain't going home to prop sorrow. I ain't going home to put on my grave clothes. I ain't going home to have a wake. I ain't going home to murmur. No, I'm going home to sort this thing out in the realm of the spirit. I'm going home to see the enemy come in one way and flee before my eyes 7 ways. I'm going home to let God arise and his enemies be scattered. scattered. I'm going home so that when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit shall raise a standard against him. I'm going home. Upper room fight. War room. You all saw the movie War Room? I'm going home. Upper room. There's where my windows are. And I'm going to open them towards Jerusalem. Not to Darius. Forget that idea. It's going to be not even accommodated on my part. My windows are going to be opened towards Jerusalem. I live in the system, but I have an external point of reference. I live in Babylon, but Babylon is not my home. My home is Jerusalem. My roots are not in Babylon. My roots are in Jerusalem. I'm going home in my upper room. Open my windows towards Jerusalem. And hear what? I ain't praying once. I ain't praying twice. I ain't praying 3 times because I need some resurrection power. The number 3 is the number of resurrection power. And then I'm reminded by the word of God, where when Jesus was in Gethsemane and he was being crushed, he was being pulverized, he felt like giving up. The great book says that he did not pray once, not twice, but 3 times. And so like my Savior, this is no 1 prayer. This is no 2 prayer. I've got to bombard the gates of heaven in order. I said in order. They sent me home. I want to make it. Oh gosh, my heart hurts. Oh God, I can't pray. It's pressure for me on one. I want to make it. Oh God, they sent me home. Oh God, my husband has left me. And he took everything. All I have is the clothes on my back. I want to make it. You better arise. No time, no time. No time. No time. No time for a pity party. I can decree a thing and see it established. I can set the mountains be removed and see them removed. Tell 10 people, no time for a pity party, no time. Sister Celeste, you know what just happened to me? They sent me home. I don't know how I'm going to survive. But you know what? Pray for me. No reference is made concerning Daniel calling for prayer back in. The man understands his authority in God. And I ain't going home to be dysfunctional, to call a pity party, to think, well, I'm left for dead and life is over and I can't prosper and make it anymore. Or God cannot shut the mouth of lions or make a den of lions look like a flock of kittens. No, at the end of the day, I'm going to call upon the name of my God. I'm going to go home and fix this. And you could see that the man has a structured prayer life. And that is for all of you who does operate ad hoc. No altar. No place of consecration. Your altar has been destroyed within the confines of your home. Don't have a meeting time that you connect with God. Observe, the man's prayer life has a structure. Windows are open towards Jerusalem. He has an upper room. That's the room that is designated towards spiritual warfare. When I've got to call upon my God, there's a particular room that I enter into. And there's a particular zone that I also enter into. Nobody disturbs me at that point in time. Not even my cell phone goes into that room with me. Why? Because this is a matter that requires urgency. Upper room. And he knows a den of lions await him. There's a crying, whining moment right there. There's a pity party moment right there. There's contemplation time right there in relation to your prayer life. Should I shut it down for 30 seconds, 30 days? Or should I pray to Darius? Daniel says no. And hear me. There's the interesting thing. It's lower down. Read it when you get home. Yeah, read it. The Bible says, let me make it easy for you. Always kill me, boy. Watch this. Watch this. Mickey, where it says they came and found him praying. Where is this? 11. Everybody read verse 11. Go ahead. Where it says? Say that again. Say it again. They found him how? Praying. They found him how? Praying. Tell anybody they found him praying. Daniel ain't go and say, well, boy, let me hide behind some piece of bush and seek my God. These brothers must not find me. This ain't no hide and pray operation at this point in time. These brothers came and found him praying. For the next 30 days, I've got to hide and pray. Mission impossible, if you accept it, is to hide and pray. Because you've got to understand that these brothers will go on a purposeful search to find out if he's praying. Will they check him today? Yeah, boy. Will they check him tomorrow? Nah, boy. These brothers are on the lookout. And so the book says they found the man praying. Windows open, but he is shoo-shooing. Dear God. You know the situation that is at hand. These brothers, I cannot afford to have them hear me. But I know that you can. They found him. His prayer activity was one that resulted in them brothers being drawn towards him. And mind you, Daniel had already made up in his mind, I going in the lion's den. He didn't make up his mind. I'm going. The mere fact he went home and prayed, that serves as a clear indicator that I am on my way to the lion's den. Principle inside of that is my eyes are not on the context. I don't care if it's 15 lions inside a day. My eyes are not on the context. And big revelation. I had to Google this to find out when is the time when lions are most predatory. When do they hunt their prey? And it is during the course of the night. And based on the scenario, Daniel was placed in the lion's den during the course of the night. Because keep in mind that the king had a miserable night. The one who lost sleep was the one who was a victim of insomnia was the no Kenny G that night. No Kenny G. No Beyonce. No music. No live band. No musical flow. Then on top of that, no rack of ribs. No roasted pork. No Rick O'Donnell. The man fasted. You all with me this morning? Yes. So his eyes are more on the context. Yes. No, I'm saying it wrong. His eyes are even on God, like Daniel. Because hear what? The mere fact he couldn't sleep, and the mere fact when he arrived at the den, he said, Daniel, has your God delivered you? But here's the best part all you're leaving out. There's the best part. And that is the part to him related, with the part related to him making it comfortable for Daniel to go in the den alliance and sleep. There's the part you don't want to miss. And that is, he looked at Daniel and said to him, I know that your God is going to deliver you. The man sent Daniel into the lion's den with a peace that passes all understanding. Daniel could have gone in that den with a sheet, with a pillow. He could have put on pajamas. I mean, he could have gone in there ready to have a circus moment, going with hula hoop, train lions to jump through. Observe, the king said to Daniel that I know your God will deliver you. Just imagine that. But yet still, the man went through with the move. We don't know why. But at the end of the day, he was convinced that God was going to deliver Daniel. And you better believe me when I say to you that some of your haters already know that their plan against you ain't going to work, you know. Them don't know that, you know, man. Them don't, trust me, they've already come to that extrapolation, to that conclusion that their plan will not work against you. But because they're under demonic manipulation and they're under the spell and the control of demons, they still carry out the plan. But they already know in their heart, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that God is going to deliver you. The king said, boy, your God is going to bring you out of this. Made it easy for Daniel to go into that den of lions and make them look like a bunch of pussycats. And everything as it relates to Daniel's operation, understand that there's a risk factor involved too. Because he took the risk to put his faith in God, as opposed to deciding not to pray for 30 days and more so pray to King Darius. And then the next thing you've got to look at is the fact that he does not put his eyes on the context. And that is the biggest problem as it relates to some of us. We keep putting our eyes on the context. The sickness killing me. The money is too small. The disease is eating away my body. You keep putting your eyes on the context. Business bad. This ain't happening for me. That ain't happening for me. I ain't sure I'm going to make it. I ain't sure I'm going to survive this. You keep putting your eyes on the context. And as long as you're doing that, then it will always result in your context being magnified bigger than your God. When your God is far bigger than your context. So lions den, who cares? A den that has a whole bunch of animals that have the capacity to devour me, who cares? My eyes are on God. So boy, he goes home and he takes on that challenge all by himself. Prayed 3 times a day. Sorted that thing out, or sort it out in the realm of the spirit. Create an avenue and open a channel for his God to spring into action in a miraculous dimension. And here's the thing about Daniel I don't want you to see that is totally mesmerizing, and it proves for a fact that this brother knew God. Do you know God? You think you do. This is the thing that proved for a fact that Daniel knew God. Daniel's position concerning the den was, I don't want avoidance. I don't want it. If I wanted it, I would have complied and bowed to the petition, but I don't want it. Here's why. Because if I go for avoidance, then I am immensely reducing the ability of my God to spring into action miraculously. And that must not happen. I don't want avoidance. Because avoidance will deny my God the opportunity to prove to Darius and all the inhabitants of Babylon that he is the one and true and only God. I hope all you hearing me, you know? He ain't going home to pray for avoidance. In the name of Jesus, Father, enable me to avoid going in the lion's den, please. No, Daniel wants action. It's Hollywood time for Daniel. It's time for me to set the stage for my God to be able to work another miracle on my behalf. Because here what in chapter 1, he did some spectacular things when we had the opportunity to eat at the king's table. And I turned down that offer. Didn't I go on a fast for 10 days? And the eunuchs were concerned about how I will look. I may look haggard and look thinner and look as though I can jump through a chariot. Did the eunuch have a concern concerning my health? Yes, but at the end of the day, when the 10 days was over, who looked far better than all the inhabitants of Babylon, everybody? Daniel. So that was one script. This one is going to be another. And so on that note, I don't want avoidance. Take me to the den. Here's why. Because once I go in the lion's den, then my God has the platform to show his miraculous power. And did that not happen, everybody? Where the king used his own mouth and declared to Daniel that your God is the true and only and living God. Do you know God to that extent? Huh? Me, I go pray, you know, but I want avoidance. Daniel wanted avoidance. Daniel wanted entry into the den of lions because he wanted to set the stage for the miraculous power of God to go on display. And that is why you're sick, rejoice. Because your sickness is affording God the luxury of displaying his miraculous. You didn't hear me this morning. I said you did not hear me this morning. I said you did not hear me this morning. They sent you home. Who cares? Your joblessness is just going to provide another opportunity for God to make a way for you or to open another door for you. Whatever state you are in, like Paul, learn how to be contented. Do what Paul says. Rejoice in the Lord always. And again I say, rejoice, knowing fully well that whatever situation you are in that might be catastrophic in nature, it provides God with the opportunity to demonstrate his miraculous working power. Tell God I'm grateful for whatever context I'm in. Come on, talk to me. Come on, say it again. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. And I'm not declaring that from the standpoint of having a desire to stay there, but I'm declaring it from the standpoint of knowing beyond the shadow of a doubt that I am setting the stage for my God to display his miraculous working power. And so with that in mind, no time to complain, no time to murmur, no time to jam and whine, no, my friend, no time to be discombobulated, no time to go into a state of malfunction. The devil is a liar. I've got to stay strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Knowing that not too long from now, my God is going to spring into action in a miraculous way and deliver me. Do you know how many doctors are baffled? You know, when they see, well, it's a case where you should have been in bed as a vegetable, or you should have been dead. I had Michelle's doctor, when she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, saying to her, "What is you doing, child?" He's inquiring. And somehow he had the sense to know that, you know, based on her astounding, success, her remarkable success, health-wise, it's not linked to him only. He had enough sense to know that. He saw it, everybody. What are you doing? That was the question he asked her. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And that was because God was working behind the scenes. You don't see him, but he's there. You may not feel him, but he's there. You may be clueless, but he is there, working behind the scenes. And so if you could only stand still, and that does not mean to shut down your spiritual operation. Well, I'm standing still, praise God, as though the anthem is playing. No, stand still means open your windows towards Jerusalem. Go into your upper room and pray. That is what stand still means. Stand still means make up your mind that you are heading towards the lion's den, knowing fully assured that your deliverance is promised. Stand still. I'm going to worship him. Stand still. I'm going to bless him at all times. Stand still. I'm going to spring into a time of prayer with fasting. Stand still. I'm going to recite his word. Stand still. I'm going to speak some things prophetically into being. Stand still and see the salvation of your God at work for you in the midst of your harsh context. Your context may have the capacity to kill you, but it can't. And you better believe that. And some of you are in some lion-like context. You are in some lion-like arrangements. And you're wondering, how in heaven's name am I surviving this? Know beyond the shadow of a doubt that your God is at work behind the scenes. Some of you individuals were assigned to devour you, and you had no clue that God had them cancel their idea. Do you know that God is working behind the scene, known and unknown to you? You had no idea when you were pulling up in the garage that some guys were just a few yards off waiting to strike. But God put it in their heart to abandon the mission. You better live with a strong sense of cognizance that your God is always at work with one intention in mind, and that is to favor you. For it's in you that you live, it's in him that you live and move and have your very being this morning. I'm going. Lion's Den. Take me there. Because I understand that once I arrive in that context, then every knee shall bow. And every tongue shall confess that my Jesus is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. And the immature ones inside of here and who are streaming, you can't handle this message. Because instinctively, some of us, our position is avoidance. Help me escape the chair, God, because the minute I sit in the chair, I will die. Who says so? Daniel is saying, take me to the lion's den. I'm going. Because at the end of the day, God is looking for a stage that is set for him to perform on. If you are living with a philosophy that your sickness is not unto death, but unto his glory and honor, you could die. You could die. You find out you're sick, you're dysfunctional, you can't pray. You ain't praying for days. You don't want to talk to nobody. People WhatsApping you and trying to connect with you. You don't want to hear nobody because you've been catapulted into a state of, malfunction. God help us. Help us. You already embrace the thing. You already marry yourself to the thing. You already allow the thing to grip you, to become a chip on your shoulder. As opposed to you saying, God, this is another, circumstance or another situation for you to demonstrate your power, thereby resulting in you receiving all the glory. Amen. So my business is done at this point in time. It is all for the honor and glory of God. Amen. My husband getting trouble at this point in time. It is all for the honor and glory of God. My child is given trouble at this point in time. It is all for the honor and glory of God. They're plotting on my workplace. They are conspiring to have me fired. It is all for the honor and glory of God. I went out today with high expectations that all my doubles will sell out, but it didn't. Therefore, I'm going home saying it was so because all for the glory and honor of God. And if you could live from that viewpoint, it will give you the upper hand and give you an advantage to triumph in the midst of every situation. You have lost sight in one eye right away. Let your words be the situation is all for the honor and glory of God. That is a sign that I am accepting this thing. That very soon God is going to bring me out, thereby resulting in him receiving all the glory and honor. Because during that time, the news will spread that you're blind in one eye. How many of you had people come to the Lord as a result of them being aware of your plight and seeing God springing into action inside of it, thereby resulting in you being delivered from it? And as a result of that, they said, I'm ready to serve your God. There's a tall order, everybody. There's a tall order. You got insight in relation to what it is you signed up for. This journey ain't about you. It's not about you. Daniel understood that. That's why he said here, what? I'm going in the lion's den. I'm going. But here, what? I'm going home and fix that thing. I'm going home and sort that thing out in the realm of the spirit. So when I arrive in the lion's den, that context is going to swing around to favor me. So just imagine the one who is supposed to be having a sleepless night is asleep in the lion's den. The king is in a hot mess. Shut down all of his entertainment services. Shut down everything. And Daniel is in the den. I can imagine Daniel. Come here, let me stroke you. Come here, let me play with your fur. I never had the opportunity to really feel what a lion feels like. Come here, let me hug you up. I can imagine Daniel. All you lie down, let me roll on all you and use all you as a silly apostrophe. I can imagine Daniel having a night of fun. You stand up on one leg. You come on, stand up on your hind feet. You come on, roll, let me hear. Had a fun night. Oh, nothing touching him. King cracked the den's door and recognized that Daniel is in there. The man's flesh is not interfered with. The man's bones intact. The man looking as healthy as ever. The man looked as though he had a restful, peaceful night. While the king is miserable. Decided here were get all your family. Get all your family. And guess what? Talk to me now. All of them ended up where? In the lion's den. You all understand this, everybody? Amen. So the meal the one who was supposed to be the meal for the lions wasn't the meal. God turned it around. And as I said prior, the interesting thing concerning this scenario is the fact that lions are predatory during the course of the night. And just imagine for the entire night, when they should be having an insatiable hunger for food, they had no desire to touch Daniel. And that is because he interfaced with his harsh context properly. He decided to rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. He decided to pray and seek God. That is how he decided to interface with the harsh, devouring context that he was about to be placed in. And so the end result is he survived the context. Good news, you're a praying person, you will survive. Amen. I said you will survive. Amen. I said you will survive. And can I draw this to your attention, the last part of the verse, in reference to the description of Daniel's prayer life. It says that he went home and prayed as his custom was in his early days. I'm finishing with this. You can't miss that. As his custom was when everybody, since his early days. That means that Daniel was a praying individual from his youth up until this moment. May I say to you that at this time, Daniel was 80-something years old. You all hearing me? So he had been consistent at prayer. You all better don't miss this. And in reading that, here is what I discovered, Roberto, and that is trouble did not make Daniel pray, but trouble made Daniel pray. I done, Sister Michelle. Sister Michelle, I done, Roger. Roger, I done. You heard what I just said? Trouble didn't lead to Daniel deciding to pray. No, trouble made Daniel Chiron a praying man. You hearing me, Junior? As was his custom since his early days. Some believers only decide to pray when they run into trouble. And hear me, any believer who prays when they're in trouble, in real trouble. You're in trouble. And hear me, praying at that point in time does not guarantee you the liberty out of trouble. Because in Proverbs 1, the wise man Solomon says that after you ignore the cries of God and calamity hit your life or hit your door, thereby resulting in you deciding to call upon him at that point in time, he says to you, I will refuse. What you're bringing to me. Because when I called, you ain't pay me no mind. Y'all remember the lover in the book of Songs of Solomon when the lover came and was knocking the door and she lied down there. I done in my night clothes already. You want intimacy? You want intimacy now? Me have time with you. I in my bed. I under my cover. And he did knocking away. I want to come in and have intimacy with you. There's a prayer set up right there. There's a prayer link. The lover is crying out for intimacy. I want you during the course of the night. And she thing is, I done in my lingerie. I under my sheet. I'm already comfortable. I've entered into my comfort zone. And you want love now? Something kind of poked her that led to her arising and hitting the door. By the time she hit the door, her lover was gone. Too late. By the time she felt goofy and something run up her spine and she felt for intimacy. When she cracked the door, the lover was gone. Look at now like a crazy woman running all about the city, asking people, you see my lover? You see my lover? I'm looking for my lover. My lover came for intimacy, you know, and I ignored him, and now already he's gone. Hey, you see my lover? You see, there's a watchman on the wall. You see my lover? You see my lover? It was too late. And that's what I'm saying. For those of you who decide, oh gosh, I'm in trouble, knee-jerk reaction. Time to pray. Knee-jerk. That's what it is. Using prayer as a medium to provide you as provide a way of escape for you. You're using prayer as an escape strategy. In some instances, God is not going to pay you any mind because you're using him. So why God can grant Daniel favor in the midst of the harsh, divine context that he has been catapulted into is because trouble met him, a praying man. And observe, as a result of him being a praying man, he was battle ready. I am ready for this challenge. I am ready for this fight. I don't have to crank up anything. I don't have to work myself up. I don't have to go and find some book on 15 tips to bombard, some diabolic assignment. No, I am ready. I'm going home and open my windows towards Jerusalem. I'm ready. My armor is already on. Don't you know? I am built for this attack. I am built for this battle. I'm built for this struggle. I'm built for this diabolic assignment. Why? It met me as a praying man. And a praying man or a praying woman is a dangerous believer because they're ready for everything. You're messing with my children, I'm ready for you. You're messing with my spouse, I'm ready for you. You're messing with the peace of my home, I'm ready for you. You're messing with the stability of my home, I'm ready for you. You're plotting against me to get me fired, I'm ready for you. You're attacking my body with some life, threatening illness. Hear what? I am ready for you. Because I run into this thing being a praying individual. I now start to pray. I know Johnny come lately in reference to prayer. I'm a veteran. I'm a seasoned campaigner. I don't pray because I found myself in trouble or adversity. No. These things run into me. Praying. Got a whole bunch of knee-jerk reaction believers in the body of Christ. Wouldn't pray when the day come. But as some trouble come, you're playing you all up in God's face. You're fooling yourself. Wasting significant time. And sometimes you extend a little mercy, and you still don't have the courtesy to say, all right, let me continue to pray. He bless you, and you go back to your prayerlessness. You ain't cut out for this. It's a serious walk. Got to be battle ready. Pray to Darius. That's hard for me to do. From since I small, I pray to God. You tell me about Darius. Shut down my prayer life for 30 days. You crazy? I don't know what inconsistency is. I pray since I small. That's why they can't beat Marshall. He could stay away from Soca and Monarch for 5 years and still come back and win. Why? What's the song he'd sing? They say I'm too young to party. How old was he? The man was brought up into this thing. Bungie and them started the other day. That's why they can't beat him. They say I'm too small for soca. Was about 8 years old when he sang that. Got a whole bunch of men in the industry who came out the other day while he started from. And that's why the book says train up a in the way that it should. So when it becomes old, it will not do what? Some of you big people get in trouble to pray. You know why? It wasn't instilled in you from small. So now you're big. You're hard. You're bending over. And could only go for 5 minutes because the thing was not developed, it was not instilled, it was not practiced from when you were small. It's very difficult to beat anybody who starts off at a tender age. So Daniel is scoffing at that lion's den context. I ain't no bother for me. That thing met me a praying man. I have what it takes to deal with that issue. So I'm going home. The average believer going home and get down in a chair or go lie across the bed and cry like a baby for hours. And you think God is impressed with your posture. He's that merciful. He's that sympathetic. He knows my heart. When God is saying to you, hey, get up. You got me on your side. Get up and fight that thing. What is going on with you? Get up and sort that thing out in the realm of the spirit. Oh, Brother Glenn, you only talking that way? Well, all right, I'm only talking that way. Yeah? Because that's all some of you will sit down in your mind. You only talking that way, Brother Glenn. You have it easy, we? You think so? I have it harder than all inside of here. It's just I have learned. You know. What are the requirements? The deal. But you have no idea the immensity of what I face on a daily basis. You have no idea. So get praying. It's difficult to bend the tree while it is old, but you got to get praying. And the next battle you run into, let it meet you a praying individual. And I'm talking about having some consistency up underneath your belt. Some of you like margarine in the sun. The minute something go bad, you dysfunctional. Can't come to church. You ain't seen me tonight, and you ain't this, and you ain't that, and I want a week off, and all them sort of foolishness. What are you doing here? So you only want to be here when in good times? That is your philosophy? In good times? When things going good? That is your philosophy? You're crazy. You have no idea what you have enlisted into. You're mad. That only in good... Sister Michelle, I hate today. You have no idea. The week was... Oh, God. You're crazy. And then some tragedy, strike, and the same Sister Michelle you were dancing before, she is safe for the week and is now reaching out to you, and you would not even respond to her messages. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? And here's what is the appalling thing, that we got mature believers behaving that way. Mature. Well, so-called. We put it that way. Full of folly. I just couldn't worship today because I ain't feel it. I really ain't feel it. The week was hard. And that is the time. You got Serena and them. Playing through. Go Google these people. You got see Serena and them playing through all kind of, we call them thing under your foot? Blisters. To win a championship. You think some of them, you have no idea the pain that they're in. One time Jordan won a championship. The man was in a high altitude city. Couldn't even breathe because the people had to be toting the man off the court during timeout. And they're going after something that is corruptible. But because they want it. It always boils down to how much you want it. A bunch of people always making a set of silly, baseless excuses. But I couldn't because I wasn't well. And then Monday morning, I don't know if they had that level of favor with God to the extent where between Sunday morning and Monday morning, God showed up. They himself come to his house, but because he favors them so much, he turned up and said, Monday morning is yours. Go to work in Jesus' name. A fast 24 hours deliverance. But the thing I know well is if I was only distributing checks upon arrival, I had those ushers there, handing everybody $3,000 at every service. Boy, people coming, give me my money. Easy, easy. They come in who are red eye, who are easily transferable diseases. We're doing here this morning. You're supposed to be here, boy. Forget that. The blood of Jesus on this thing, amen. Don't you know that that is a communicable disease? You could communicate and exchange that quite. Oh, the devil is a liar, you. I'm seeking first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. How much you want it. And that is why you're here this morning as a first-timer all the way from Digo Martin. Because you saw a clip in my message and you said, you know what? There is something that this man is saying that I want to hear more of. And I'm telling you, the way God is moving in RLC right now, you should himself be missing a service. Should be doing all in your power to get here. Because he's talking on a different level. I hope we got something from Daniel this morning. The only time you gain gold is when you reach heaven. For now it's tar. And tar means pressure. All hell busting loose against you. Tar means pain in your body. Tar means having a fight with your children at times in relation to directional issues concerning God. Tar means you run the risk of being fired. Tar means the enemy is attacking, going to be attacking your mind. That's what tar means. Only when you get to heaven, them things done. Tar means, dismal, gloomy days at your business. No sales today. Might be even a month. That's what tar means. Tar means you're burying your husband before you or burying your wife before you. Even though that wasn't your desire. Tar means burying your children sometimes before you. I've done funerals and hear mothers saying, oh gosh, I never envisaged this would have happened, that I'm burying my child before me. That's what tar means. Tar means pressure. All hell busting loose. You being subjected to divorce and your husband or your wife taking everything from under your feet. That's what tar means. And if you don't know how to handle them everyday challenges and them everyday, catastrophic issues that are going to be coming your way, I'm telling you, you ain't cut out for this thing. Daniel was cut out for it because from since the foundation of his life, he's a praying man. So he could handle anything. Goes home at a time when the average believer was going home to have a pity party. I'm going to make this context bend to suit me, to favor me. You set lions to devour me, but hear what? I'm going to devour them. Because my word says, I can tread upon the lion, Psalm 91, the young lion. God has given me authority over them thing. I could pick up any deadly thing. I could drink any deadly thing. And it cannot hurt me. I trust we heard God this morning. Amen. Amen. And amen.